It was August of 2016 when I took the first baby steps on my weight loss journey. And believe me, they were baby steps. I had no idea what I was doing or if I would have any success whatsoever. So this is August 2018. It's been 2 years. And if I look at this 2-year period as a, let's say, an intensive lifestyle transformation course that I've just completed, then this past month of July 2018 was, I'm gonna call it my final exam, because I was tested under different circumstances. My lifestyle was tested. I was away from home for 12 nights on 4 different trips over this last month, and so I had to employ all the different tools that I learned over the 2 years in order to stay on course. So this video is about how I did on this final exam, so stay tuned and we'll discuss it. Hi, this is Jim, back with another update for the Beating Obesity channel. And yeah, I've got some things I wanted to talk about today based on my very busy month that I just completed. I had a lot of travel, a lot of, as I said, testing of my lifestyle. And I've come away with a couple observations and comments that I want to share with you. I've already mentioned previously, I took a vacation to Miami early in July, and I was away for 3 days that time, and did a little indulging on that trip, and came back and noticed that I had picked up a quick 5 pounds, which for indulging for 3 days is not a whole lot. I mean, to be honest, it could easily, if I would have just went hog wild, you could easily in 3 days pick up, if you're eating a bunch of carbs, you could easily pick up 10 pounds or more. But anyway, so the 5 pounds came on, and then it just went away after I got back into my normal routine. Then I had a couple more business trips during the month. These were trips of 2 days each away from home, and then I just last weekend was out in Boise, Idaho for a family reunion, 5 days away from home for that trip, and that one some interesting things happened. It was a great time, but I learned a bit also. So in total, like I said, I was 12 days out away from home and away from my controlled environment, and here's how it went. I guess let me just go over, I'm going to mention I'm going to mention certain tools I use to get by, to stay on my, let's say, as much as possible, my MeatOmadic routine, lifestyle routine. And the tools I use, and then they vary. It depends on the kind of trip I'm on and where I'm at and how I'm traveling. So for road trips, for car trips, I'll typically do, especially if they're shorter duration, I'll prepare, let's say, a couple of pounds of ground beef patties, and I'll cook them up and take them with me on the road in a cooler and have them, ready. And it's nice. It's sort of like, it's a backup. It's comforting to know you got something there to rely on. Let's say you don't know when you're going to eat or who you're going to eat with, or maybe the plan is in flux. It's nice to know you have that. When you eat once a day, it's sort of important to have something lined up. And so having those patties, I also, believe it or not, I take my pink salt with me and some mineral water because sometimes you can't find it. So I did that, and it kind of, even if let's say I'm on the road and I'm going out with coworkers for dinner, I frequently would use those patties as kind of, I call it like a pregame, to take the edge off before a formal dinner, because frankly, when it's time of day that I want to eat, I don't want to wait around. I don't, you go in a restaurant and there's the talking and the having a cocktail and then there's a lot of time. I'm ready to eat. People have, there's the salad and all that stuff. I just want to dive right in. So that is my normal. If I'm fasted, 23 hours fasted, and I'm just done some exercise, which I typically do, even when I travel, I still run. On most days, I can find time to run. So I do this pregame. I'll eat a couple patties, and then when I go to the restaurant, I'm like already kind of. It takes the edge off, and it also takes some of the pressure off of whatever the restaurant is serving. Like I don't need to go overboard with the food at the restaurant, but so that's one thing. I take my food with me in the car. Another thing I've done a few times this past month, for the first time, I did it 2 or 3 times. I've used fast food and picked up some burgers. I did McDonald's twice just because it was the only option, and Five Guys once. I did a Five Guys run out in Boise, and that works fine. I mean, I get either, just all patties or patties plus bacon and go to town on them. They're hot. They're good. I mean, that really takes the edge off. Five Guys was very good. Little expensive, but McDonald's is not bad in a pinch either. The quarter pounder patties, hot, fresh. Like I said, I bring my own pink salt them and pepper them up, and hey, it's not a bad option. So those are a couple tools I've used. Another tool I used, let me just say, on my Boise trip, I was 5 days out there, and I started off that trip sort of relaxed a little bit and indulging a little bit. The first night out there, we went to a nice steakhouse and had a nice dinner, but there was some bread, and I ate the bread, and I ate an appetizer that had maybe some sauces that are not normally on my menu. My niece was with me. She ordered shoestring potatoes with her meal, and they gave her a gigantic cone of these shoestring potatoes that it would feed a small family. So I took a handful of those and had them with I had a cowboy ribeye, had a lot of juice in it. I stuck those shoestring potatoes in with them, and so I was off course with this and allowing myself. I mean, this is allowing myself to enjoy this kind of food, and that was all good. The next night, I had the Five Guys, 8 patties and plus bacon, and then my niece didn't want Five Guys, so then we went to a little pizza shop, and here's where something hit me. I mean, this is a pizza shop. She wanted pizza, so this is the place where they have a lot of slices prepared and they heat them up. And she wanted 2 pepperoni slices. And so I said, yeah, give me 2 also. I haven't had pizza in a long time. So here I ordered a couple pizza slices. And while I was sitting there eating those slices, feeling real good. I'm away from home. I'm on vacation. I'm letting my hair down, enjoying myself and the time with my niece. And I'm starting in on that pizza. And suddenly I start hearing this voice saying, oh, what would be good with this pizza is a Coke. And there's a fountain Coke machine right next to me. I'm thinking, oh, I should, have a Coke with this. And And then it started to hit me. What in the world is going on here? This is. I was hearing voices. I was suddenly getting cravings to do things I would never do at home, and thoughts that would never cross my mind. Having a Coke, but this is the way I always used to operate. You know, I would have pizza all the time. Pizza was a staple of mine, and Coke was a staple of mine, and they put them together. Yeah, so suddenly I'm sitting there thinking, why am I getting this signaling? And I just was wondering what's going on. All right, I resisted the Coke. I didn't have the Coke, but I finished the pizza. And so after 2 nights of sort of indulging a little bit like this, that night I didn't feel so well. My stomach I felt kind of bloated, and my stomach was upset. I didn't sleep that well. And I said, you know, I'm 2 days into this trip. I don't like the way this is headed. I mean, I'm indulging a little bit here, knowingly indulging. But I didn't like how I felt, and I didn't like the fact I was drifting off course. And so I basically called an audible at that point and decided that the next day was going to be a fasting day. And this is my next tool in my toolbox that I can deploy as needed is a fasting day. And I decided I needed to take control, reassert myself, and get control of the situation, and throw a fasting day in. Now, this was a very busy day for us. I mean, we went for a run in the morning, a 6-mile run I did, and then I took my niece to a water park, and she dragged me all around that water park. I went on every ride with her. And then we visited relatives after that. My aunt, we went to her house and spent about 6 hours there, and then that overlapped with the normal eating hour, and I just said, no, I'm not eating, so I'm fine. And I made it through that day, no problem, really. I mean, I had full stamina, full energy, and I needed that, and I recovered everything, put me back in charge of the trip, and those voices, were no longer there. The next 2 days, there were 2 more days of that trip, and they were really easy because they were, those 2 days were held at my aunt's house, where she had grills available. I brought my own meat, so I was able to grill my own meat, have exactly the food I wanted. So it was wonderful. Some of my younger second cousins were kind of amused that my meal would consist of, let's say, like 5 steaks plus a hamburger patty. So people were kind of amused at my eating, but it was great. And that trip ended up to be a really fun trip. I think I've got a picture. I've got one picture of me jumping off of a concrete ledge. It was about 10 feet high above a river. I was jumping in with my niece, and I'll probably try to insert it here so you could see. I mean, it's a milestone for me to be doing something like that, to have my shirt off in public and to feel comfortable, and have energy and to be just physically active like that. It was a total blast. I enjoyed every moment out there in Idaho. So yeah, fasting day is one of the tools in my toolbox. The final one that I made a note of is, I just decided along the way to stop being so concerned about what others think in a restaurant or trying to conceal what I want. I more or less just go in now and just order what I want. If I just tell the waitress, look, whatever I want, I'm just comfortable to say it. And I told a story on Twitter and YouTube how at a recent dinner with coworkers, I had my pregame, a couple of hamburger patties. It was probably about a pound, but at dinner, this restaurant what they had to offer was, you know, steaks and prime rib. Basically, it was their forte. My eye was caught by a 2 pound prime rib cut that they offered, called the Paul Bunyan cut. And I said, oh, you know, with my pregame and one Paul Bunyan, that's all I need. So everyone was amused. I ordered that, and everybody, you know, had something to say about it. And, you know, I took some mild ribbing, but yeah, the server was, are you sure? I mean, I don't think, I mean, I weigh just over 160 now, and so you know, I don't maybe look like the kind of person that's going to come in and order the Paul Bunyan 2 pound cut. So everybody's kind of, you know what you're doing? Yeah, I pretty much do. Yeah, just bring it on. So yeah, I think I have a picture of that too. I'll insert in here. But so yeah, just being more comfortable and assertive around people, just ordering what I want and not worrying about, you know, what people might think. Yes, you know, I eat once a day and I eat meat, and this is how it is. And so I guess I'm just more comfortable, and that's another tool, is to just be comfortable and not worry about what others think. Yeah, so I want to circle back and talk a bit about what happened to me when I was in Boise, where I mentioned that I felt a reemergence of cravings and voices telling me to do things that I normally would never hear anymore or never have to deal with on a daily basis. And so what I realized is, you know, all this time I've been thinking, oh, I conquered I conquered hunger, and I don't have the cravings anymore. They're all gone. And what I realized is I have that feeling because I'm basically always within a very structured environment. My normal day-to-day routine here at home and at the office is very structured. I do the same thing, and I basically have a line of defense and a routine that I'm used to. So all of those kinds of voices, I don't hear them. I don't have cravings, and I don't get hungry. I mean, I just do the same thing. But when you're out in the world, when you're away from your structure, and you're surrounded by the triggers, you know, when you're venturing out into the world of the standard American diet, where everybody's just, you're in vacation mode, so your guard is down a little bit, and you're surrounded by people doing all the normal things. It's a little different, and it's sort of, your guard is down a little bit, and maybe your line of defense is a little more, it's not quite so impenetrable. And what I realized is those cravings and those voices and those patterns that I lived with for years, that told me, you know, that made me crave carbs and sugar and pizza and everything that I used to crave. It's not that they're gone. They're there, but they've been suppressed. They're down, you know, lurking, and they're just in control. And I don't have to deal with them a lot because, like I said, my routine keeps them out of the way. But it doesn't mean they're gone. They're still there. They're lurking deep down, just waiting for an opportunity to reemerge from the murky depths and cause you a problem. And if you're in a vulnerable situation, if your guard is down, let's say you're at a party, or like where I was on a vacation, or you're doing things that you used to do, and surrounded by triggers, this is what you got to be on guard for, because suddenly those voices, I found them, they were right back there telling me, hey, have a Coke, you know. That would be wonderful. Have some donuts. You know, we passed a little stand that made fresh donuts right on the spot, which looked awesome. And my niece, of course, had to have them. But I passed on it. I know they were probably just tremendously delicious, but no, that's not for me. But um, but yeah, so I came away with this idea now that um, you need to have the routine and the discipline and the structure in order to suppress those cravings and those past, let's say, learned pathways that you that you uh, that you operated on for all your life, like I did. I mean, those are well-worn pathways for me. I mean, you're talking years or even decades. They're still there, and they're just waiting for an opportunity to emerge. So you have to be conscious of that, and to know when you might be triggered by an event, and take some evasive action. Be prepared. Like I said, be prepared if you're going to be out somewhere where it's all loosey goosey and going to be fun, and you're going to be surrounded by people doing the normal stuff that you don't do anymore. Either take some food, like I said, to take the edge off ahead of time, or another idea I have is to have some food already prepared that you can go to, some of your food that you can go to after the event, and just know, so that you can more easily bypass temptation, knowing, hey, you've got a great meal waiting for you at your hotel or wherever. You've got something else lined up that you easily wait a few hours for if need be. Or, like I said, just partake in the event the best you can, just avoiding the real bad stuff, the real triggers. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to share this revelation that those cravings are there. They're just buried way down, and maybe they'll never go away. And so that's why I'm always vigilant, and that's why I pay attention to my weight, and I try to maintain good discipline, and I always think about what's going on, because I'm nervous about a relapse of some point. I thought I mainly, frankly, was beyond the possibility of a relapse or whatever, but when I heard those voices telling me on this trip, hey, have a Coke, and even go further, that same evening, we were walking, my niece and I were walking back to our hotel, and after we'd had the pizza, and I was hearing these voices, and there's a theater right by our hotel, and she said, hey, let's catch a movie. And I gave some thought to that, even though I haven't been to a theater in I don't know how many years, because I could not be able to fit in the seats very comfortably, and frankly now I can, but I could not imagine going into a movie theater and not having popcorn and a Coke, because to me it's just mandatory. I could not pass the popcorn and Coke. And we went in this theater, we looked at what was playing. Fortunately, it was a little too late, and we were a little too tired. I think I might have went for the theater option if it had been a little earlier. If it had been like an hour earlier, I might have said, hey, let's catch a movie. But I probably would have done the popcorn and Coke and regretted it. But anyway, it was later on that night where I said, I'm going to reverse course and go for a fast, and like I said, take control of the situation, because I felt like a quarterback coming up the line of scrimmage and not caring for the defense that was opposed to me, and I called an audible, went on a fast, took control, and everything was good after that. I'm back at home now and reclaiming my territory on food and back to my normal routine, and it feels good. The damage, no damage was done. The last thing I want to share now is it's kind of another month has passed, and so I got some updated statistics to share. I just checked this morning. Yeah, blood pressure, I check that once a month. It's even though it's about the same. It was 92 over 60 with a 42 resting heart rate. And the weight, the monthly weight I look at is the 7-day average. And this morning I was at 164.4. That was down a pound from the previous month. So weight-wise, all of this whole month of travel and all this stuff that I did, it didn't affect the weight at all. In fact, I went down a pound. The big news, I mean, for me, the surprising thing, the other thing I check about once a month is my waist. And I tell you, I thought maybe the waist was shrinking. I had this sensation that, you know, it was shrinking up a bit, and pants and shorts were fitting more loose. Sure enough, I mean, I got measurement as low as 34.25. I settled on officially 34.5 because I wasn't sure if it was 34.5 or 34.25. I mean, 34.25 would be a ½ inch lower than the last measurement I had, 34.75. And it's sort of hard for me to believe that a ½ inch came off my waist. But and maybe next month it will be a ½ inch, I don't know. But right now, so I'm saying I lost a ½ inch this month on the waist, which is great. I don't know what to attribute that to, other than I just have this gut feeling that the sun is helping, and I've become a sun worshiper. Not a worshiper, but I go out in the sun every weekend, and if it's a sunny day, midday, I go out with my shirt off, and I get somewhere between an hour or two of sunshine, and tanning. I go to the beach, a water park, Miami. I've been out in the sun and done some tanning, and it seems like, from my observation, in the stretch marks, the scarring from my that are left over from being overweight on my waist, it seems like those stretch marks have shrunken, like they're smaller and narrower. It's just, I mean, there's no way to measure that. I'm not sure, but it looks like they're thinner and smaller. So I just have this feeling that the sun is having a rejuvenating effect on the skin and stretch marks in general. Maybe it's just a cumulative effect of everything. I don't know, but I'm glad for the waist measurement to be going down. So I'll be continuing on course with everything. I'm in a real groove with my food right now. I'm stuck. I'm not stuck, but I've been adhering to the same basic formula, which is mostly beef and pork. And other than that, just some pork rinds, sometimes an avocado, and I've been very consistent with my 2 squares of dark chocolate. I think I've had that like every day, pretty much for the past probably 5-6 weeks. And I like that. It fills some void. It gives me that treat or satisfaction at the end of the meal. It feels like a fantastic dessert. It's like, I think I calculated, it's like 5.5 grams of carbohydrate. So, I mean, I'm still, very low on the carbohydrate. And, I'm not too much into the weeds on my macros or how much I'm eating or calories or any of that stuff. As you know, I don't really track all that. I track the weight and the waist and things like that, and as my guide. If I'm going off course, I would expect that I'm going to see it on those metrics. So all I know is I feel really good with this, eating this way right now. One thing I'll mention, it's been a long time ago I did the hamburger only week, and at that week I dropped cheese and two things that I dropped. Well, I dropped everything for that week other than hamburger, but cheese and eggs, I've never went back to them. I've never picked them up again. And I'm leaving it like that because things are just going so well. I do expect someday to get back into eggs, but I don't know. I'll wait for the time when I feel like I just really want some eggs. I'm not feeling it right now. And one thing I want to say is that during this time that I've been away from cheese and eggs, on the issue of elimination, there's been, before that, I always used to have, like, let's say a weekly episode when, sort of like a diarrhea. Since I eliminated cheese and eggs, I've not had one episode of diarrhea. And it's been more of a regular type process, not daily, but certainly usually every other day, but more of a solid elimination, okay, and not as loose. So I don't know. That's just, I'm reporting that observation. It's not that it's really something that bothered me before. I'm just noting it. So yeah, I'm still just kind of with a real simplified diet now. Just meat, pork rinds, avocado, 2 squares of dark chocolate, coffee, and mineral water. That's my entire diet. No supplements. My supplement is salt. I use salt on everything. Himalayan pink salt. I salt pretty much everything that goes in my mouth. So yeah, no supplements, no drugs, and I'm feeling great. So to close this off now, I guess I started by saying, July was my final exam to see if I'm fully, if I pass this 2-year course that I've been on for lifestyle change, and I have to say, yes, I passed. I'll give myself an A because I'm able to navigate life outside in the world of temptation and all of the craziness that goes on around us in terms of food. I have enough confidence I can get by, and one way or the other, I'm going to get the food I need and not go off course. So yeah, a positive update on everything. I'm happy with everything that's happening in my life right now. I do still have in mind to do this. I'm going to do one coffee test, coffee elimination. I'm going to probably eliminate it for 7 or 8 days. I'll do that this month because I said I'm going to do it. I'm not really looking forward to it. But I'm going to do it just for the fact, just for science. I just want to see how it affects those lipid numbers. So that'll be coming up soon. I hope everything's going well for all my viewers and that are on your own journey. I hope things are going well for you. And just again say I appreciate the support and comments and interaction that people have reached out to me and contacted me in sometimes various ways. Okay, well, I just got back inside after spending about an hour and a half in the sun. And I noticed on my one-shot video, the ending got cut off or garbled. And so I'm reshooting the ending and going to stick in a little bonus coverage. There's a couple pictures that I'm going to put up right now of me and out in Boise, Idaho. One is me, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm in front of the Boise State Capitol building riding a bike. And another one is me jumping off a little ledge into a river with my niece, doing stuff that I'm now able to do after many years of just staying inside of doing nothing. So 2 pictures to cap this off. Have a great day, everyone, and until next time, take care. All right, bye now.